Okay, I am back with I guess I don't know. I don't even know whether or not to call this vlog two. I know I said that I was only going to come back and show you when I had completed the vases and the cake stands, but something changed in my plan, so I better um make sure that I got that on video, that I changed something in the plan that I had originally. I had planned to use this Rust-Oleum glitter spray paint intense shimmer finish, and I was looking for the color of the cap, and I used it, and it didn't come out quite right. I first started off with the smaller of my two cake pans, and as you can see, it's more of a gray with the glitter specks. I was looking for like black with glitter specks. As you can see, this did not come out well at all. I mean, I didn't even finish it and, kind of smooth it out. I didn't even do the undersiding because it just looked really like it wasn't what I wanted. And I was spraying and spraying and spraying. And if you can see, boy, the top part is just like so messed up. I mean, it's like drips, tears like puddling on the top that dried, and it didn't come out well. And this, I'm looking for black with gold specks. So I just decided, you know what? That was kind of like too translucent, too light. Let me not even bother. So what I decided to do was mix this, which, I was trying so hard to get this to work that I almost used the whole can on one item. This is almost gone when I finally gave up, and it was almost gone. So I'm going to probably trash this. It's not that it's bad, it just didn't do what I thought it would do. I wanted it to kind of look more like the top, but it came out more grayish with the specks than dark like the top. The top looks like charcoalish with specks. So what I ended up doing was going down to Blick. Blick is an art store we have here in Center City with my daughter, and it's an art store she frequently visits. And I decided to get some different spray paint. So one of their team members at Blick suggested NC formula in black. And she suggested I get 2 cans of the 600 milligrams, but I didn't need it. Or milliliters. 600 milliliters? I guess that's milliliters. I didn't need to because I still have quite a bit in this can. And I only have one more item of spray paint. And so I'm going to return the other can the first chance that I get, because I didn't need it. This one did well enough. And what I did was, with the first 2 vases, I took them outside. These are the vases. I took them outside, and I took them outside. I don't know if you can get a better shot of that there. I took them outside and lined the ground with some newspaper, and I sprayed them over, waited a couple seconds, sprayed them again. Came out pretty good. But the only problem was the wind was blowing. And the wind was blowing, the vapors, the mist of the spray paint was blowing and getting in places that I didn't want that to happen. So what I decided to do was I did the vases outside, and I also did the larger of the 2 cake stands outside, which this one came out a lot smoother, came out with a nice sheen on it. I, did the underside. That's just shine. I got every inch of this, and it came out lovely. And I decided, you know what? Even without the glitter specks in it, it still looks pretty good. I'm okay with it. I'm satisfied. I'll put a dollar store white doily on top of that, and it'll look fine, and that's fine. So what I did with the larger of the 2 cake stands, I took that out kind of into the street and spray painted that, and that was still a mess. And I was like, you know what? This is like too much, because it was just so windy, and I was just eager to get it done. I didn't want to wait. So I just brought it back in the house, and I lined my sink. This is the kitchen sink. I lined the sink with newspaper, opened the windows for ventilation, and I have the little, construction mask that you put on to keep from inhaling all kinds of dust and chemicals and things like that. And I have a construction mask, and I put a mask on and I put this in the center of the sink. Put it in the center of the sink and finished it off in the sink. And that's what I'm currently doing to the smaller of the two. The smaller of the two is in the sink right now, and I just spray painted the underside and the base of the smaller of the two. And I'll flip it over after, well, it's been sitting here for a little while now. I'll flip it over and spray the top. And the secret to spraying the top and giving it a nice even coat is to make sure that if you're going to be close, spraying, let's say you're going to spray close up on it, on the item, whatever you want to spray paint, make sure that you move fast if you're up close. Make sure that you move fast and you keep your lines uniform as possible. It's not easy, of course, and try to have your lines overlap, but have your lines overlap and move fast if you're going to have the nozzle kind of close. If you're going to have the nozzle further away, you'll reach a greater area if it's further away, but you move a little slower, if you can understand it, and still kind of the same principle of keeping your lines uniform as possible, and have the next line overlap the last line a little, all the way across until you're finished. Let it dry. If you see any missed spots, kind of give them a quick, spray. And, if you're cool with the one coat, then, you're good to go. Or if not, after it dries a little, you see what it looks like, and you can repeat it and do it again. So I'm going to try to do the same thing with this one with the one hand, which might be a little tricky. But, yeah. I'm going to take this one and turn it over. Okay. See? I got the underside done, and I'm just going to take this spray paint, shake it real well again, and cover this up. This design, of course, we don't need that for what we intend to do with this. And of course, if you remember from my last video, this is the top side of a stove burner cover that's been glued to a candlestick, yada, yada, yada. You already know. And I'm just going to spray paint this whole top black a couple times and get around it. And from there, let it dry and then see how well it is and how well, if I like it. And then I'll go ahead and spray it again if it's not dark enough. I'm trying to get it as close as possible to the larger of the two that came out pretty good. So, I'm going to go in. Let me see. Let me move stuff out of my way. I'm going to try to go in close and hope that I can get this on video. There. And all I do from here is kind of go around the sides a couple times. And make sure that you are either wearing a smock. I still have like hair, hairdresser smocks and stuff like that I'm still using though. I don't use it as much. I know that was a little messy, and of course I didn't do it like uniform the way that I suggested, but the space that I have to work with is a little bit more smaller, so I can't make too many wide sweeping strokes back and forth, but it gets the job done just the same. So this is the smaller of the two, and as you can see, it has a nice sheen to it. When that completely dries, it'll still have, a bit of a sheen to it, and I'll check to see if I'm satisfied with it once it dries, and I'll do it again. And when I come back, this will all be cleaned up, and I will move everything to the next step, which is decoration. Okay, it's the end of vlog 1.5. I guess 1.5.